Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Founded and then sold Symbolic quite a few years ago. And please come on, April Marbury from Diversicare. Thank you so much. There's a mic for you. And I just want to, can I set the story up the way I told you I was going to? Because we're going to talk about Elon Musk later, who's seriously one of my heroes. And what I love about Elon was Elon sold a couple of businesses, including PayPal, and where most people would have just gone and bought an island and chilled for the rest of his life, he came back to change the world. And you did exactly the same thing. Sold your business, could have gone and just cruised, but decided, let's come back and change things. So with that, thank you and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us. My guest is April from Diversicare, and I want to start with you. You have been in tech for many years, as many as I have or more. But tell me a little bit about Diversicare first and foremost.
Okay. So Diversicare is, we operate and manage skilled nursing facilities, 76 locations, as well as provide rehab for residents and patients. And we are 8,800 employees, primarily in the Southeast. We're in Kentucky, Ohio, Missouri, and Kansas, a few locations there. So we have, of the 8,800, with the exception of maybe 250, those are all clinicians that are in the centers. Our centers are running on pretty much every version of Windows that you can think about, and some that we probably shouldn't be. And that's just because those are secured devices to where, but we know we need to move. Another thing we're trying to do, we did our largest acquisition in August of 2016. We acquired 22 buildings, and with that, those buildings were on Citrix. And so this put us in a movement that we wanted to go towards, but yet we had 54 locations that aren't on Citrix, with a lot of end devices that have different operating systems. They're old devices. We use equipment till it literally dies. And so how can we get to Citrix across the enterprise? And how are we going to do that with all this fat clients sitting out there? So that's the background for where we are from a Diversicare perspective.
And so you're the CIO of the company, correct? True. And if on your wish list, what's the reason you're doing all of this? I mean, what do you think you're going to be able to make the biggest disruption?
So being in, running skilled nursing, you can imagine the little margins that we have just due to the market. So from a technology perspective, we have to watch our CapEx, our OpEx, but we also need to use technology to make that happen. And I also want to get everything standardized. I want the footprint to be as small as possible. I'm not interested in growing a big team, but I am interested in if the CEO comes down tomorrow and says, hey, I want to go buy 40 buildings. Can we do it? I want to be the first one to say, absolutely, from an IT, let's go and do it. And so that's what we're trying to do, is how do we get our footprint so tight, so standardized, to where if that happens, it's not an IT roadblock that we're up against. Certainly other things, but not IT.
So after this conference, when's your next meeting with IGEL?
We are in the middle of testing IGEL right now, and our first deployment is 3.1, and our second deployment is 4.1. I believe in taking baby steps with new technology. I've heard how wonderful it is from several attendees here. But I just believe in taking baby steps and making sure, as my IT security officer told me before I left, think how wonderful this is going to be, with one operating system, one console, and one push of a button for us to manage all of our devices.
So as a woman in tech, because there's not that many of us, you've obviously been supported by women along the way, but can you mention any of the men that have been either managers or mentors that have played an important part for you in your career?
Sure. I've sat back, I'm involved with some other women organizations that help mentor women. And so I always question, why are there so few women in technology? And what about my background allowed me to see a vision to get here? I think it starts with my parents. They encouraged me to do anything I wanted to do, no matter how crazy it was, just go try it, and if it doesn't work out, at least you tried. The second person in my life is my husband. I have an extremely supportive husband who allows me to just, expand my wings. And then there's been a few men that I've worked for that were amazing mentors. I mean, let's face it, I'm in technology and I'm in a workforce with primarily men. And so I believe we're in this together, and we have to learn to work together. And some of the best advice that I've ever been given has been from a man on this is what you need to do and this is the reason why. And just have the faith and trust to follow their lead and be supportive of one another.
Great. Thank you so much for coming out, April. Thank you.
Thank you.